How much do you build your rocket and how much do you outsource to sponsors?
We do lots of things in-house. For instance, we do our own rocket propellant, which is rocket candy, a mixture of potassium nitrate and sorbitol. We also produce our own thermaliner with the cork that Pedro mentions, which is something that we developed in-house, a mixture of different materials. We do some things such as our nose cone, which is we laminate it ourselves, but we do it with the help of companies. But some things like machine parts, metallic machine parts, we have to, because we do not have the tools to do so, we have to do it through our sponsors. But lots of things like 3D printing, our own things of the rockets, soldering of the PCBs, the programming part, obviously, the gluing of some components, the drop parachute also, it's all things that we do ourselves. And we are always trying to increase how much we do it in our laboratory. We do not have a very fancy laboratory, so sometimes it's much better to do it outside of it, kind of a balance in what you do and what you do in laboratory or what you do outside through the help of sponsors. As for unique characteristics, I already mentioned the cork in the thermal liner of our rocket motor. This year, this isn't a very big unique difference in comparison with other teams because I think other teams implemented, but we have a window in our rocket that allows for camera video to be recorded. The scientific payloads are very unique this year, and they are both outsourced, as we said. We've had lots of big developments in our software, in our prediction of apogee software, which is full-on built by students. And yeah, as I said, the drop parachutes. And we on the future we will want to have more SRAD components, especially in our recovery systems, both in the pyrotechnic devices and also the main parachute, for instance. We want to develop it and to sew it ourselves.
I also had a question for you. Why do you use sorbitol as the fuel of your rockets?
So we use the rocket candy because of its non-toxicity, and also because it's easy for us to get the reagents that we need to produce it. So in Portugal, we do not have access to many other fancy types of reagents. So sorbitol, which is a sugar basically, and then we have potassium nitrate, which we can also acquire here in our country. It's a very good choice and a very safe choice because it's something that we've tested a lot on previous years. It was always our propellant of choice in red. And so since we know that it works, we know how to handle it. It's not toxic. It always seems like the better.
Yes, but like why sorbitol instead of just regular table sugar?
I cannot answer that myself. I think that if we had here one of our propulsion team members, they could answer you that. Perhaps it has to do with the granularity of it.
I think it would be more like casting.
Yeah, I believe
like a powder?
The casting process.
Yes, probably.
Like, how do you put the fuel in the rocket? Do you like melt it and cast it?
So we have a casting process. We have the molds, and then we demold them, the grains. So you can hold it, and then we have multiple grains. Yeah. So and then we demold them, and then we insert them into our motor casing with our thermal liner around it, the multiple stacks of grain, and then that's how we do it. Yeah.
So I think that the sorbitol would be at this point for casting. It would be more easy to cast.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I would say so, yeah.
Because normal sugar is sort of hard to cast since it doesn't melt.
Yeah.
It becomes glucose and fructose, and then these melt, but they also, at the melting temperature, start to decompose.
Yeah. I know that we bring the mixture higher than the boiling point of water, so we bring it to 100-something degrees. So it's very important for us that the texture is very homogeneous and uniform. So I believe that the granularity of table sugar would be something that would cause a problem in that regard.
I usually grind it.
You grind it? Okay.
And if you melt it and you mix it, then it doesn't really matter. Although if it's a fine powder, it's easier to melt. Although I can say that with table sugar, it like starts to melt at 150.
I don't
And you
think
can't really go over that since it then starts to burn. So it's hard to cast since you have like a couple of seconds,
yeah.
like 15 seconds or something, which is sort of like clay, but is really hot. So it's uncomfortable to touch.
Yeah, I don't think we go beyond 150 degrees Celsius. But yeah, since the sorbitol is already a fine powder when we buy it, it's easier for us to use it.